The American dream used to mean picking any town, working hard, and building a life. But some places didn't get that memo. Across the country, certain towns are watching their populations vanish faster than a gas station hot dog at midnight. The factories shut down, the young people fled, and what's left behind looks like something out of a post-apocalyptic movie. These aren't just struggling communities, they're places where the economy collapsed so hard that staying feels like choosing to lose. From the Rust Belt to the Deep South, from former mining hubs to forgotten railroad towns, America has its share of places that time, and people decided to abandon. What makes a town so bad that thousands pack up and leave? The answer is about to get uncomfortable. Number 9. Gary, Indiana. Gary was supposed to be America's steel paradise. Back in 1906, U.S. Steel built this city from scratch, naming it after their chairman Elbert Gary. For decades, the mills roared. Workers made solid money, and the population exploded to over 178,000 by 1960. Then, globalization showed up like an uninvited guest. The steel industry collapsed, factories closed, and Gary became a case study in urban decay. Today, fewer than 70,000 people remain. That's a 60% population drop. Entire neighborhoods sit abandoned, with houses crumbling like stale cookies. The crime rate? It's consistently ranked among the worst in America. Gary has more than double the national average for violent crime. But here's the kicker. The city is only 25 miles from Chicago, one of America's biggest economic hubs. Yet it might as well be on another planet. The tax base evaporated, city services struggled, and anyone with options got out fast. Number 8. Flint, Michigan. Flint earned global infamy for poisoning its own residents. In 2014, city officials switched the water source to save money, exposing nearly 100,000 people to lead contamination. Children's blood lead levels spiked, and the crisis became an international scandal. But Flint's problems started way before the water went toxic. General Motors, once the city's economic backbone, began massive layoffs in the 1980s. The population peaked at 196,000 in 1960 and has since crashed to under 80,000. That's a staggering 59% decline. Unemployment has hovered around double the national average for years. Crime rates soared as opportunities vanished. Entire sections of the city look like war zones, with abandoned buildings outnumbering occupied ones in some neighborhoods. And while the water crisis technically got fixed, trust is permanently broken. Who wants to raise kids in a place where the government literally poisoned the drinking water? Number 7. East St. Louis, Illinois. East St. Louis makes other struggling cities look like vacation destinations. With a median household income around $28,000, it's one of the poorest cities in America. The poverty rate sits above 40%, meaning nearly half the residents live below the poverty line. Crime statistics read like a horror movie script, with violent crime rates nearly 4 times the national average. The city filed for bankruptcy in 1990 and has been limping along ever since. Population? It peaked at 82,000 in 1950 and has plummeted to roughly 18,000 today. That's a 78% collapse. The city lost its economic base when manufacturing jobs disappeared, and nothing replaced them. Schools struggle with funding, infrastructure crumbles, and anyone with means evacuates to neighboring areas. It's literally separated from St. Louis, Missouri by just a river, yet it feels like crossing into a different dimension of economic despair. Number 6. Bessemer, Alabama. Bessemer rode the steel industry wave just like Gary and crashed just as hard. Founded in 1887, the city boomed as a steel and railroad hub. By the mid-20th century, things looked promising. Then came the inevitable decline. Steel production collapsed, railroads downsized, and Bessemer got left holding an empty bag. The population has dropped from around 33,000 in the 1980s to approximately 26,000 today. Crime rates consistently rank above state averages, with violent crime being particularly problematic. The median household income hovers around $35,000, well below the national average. Poverty affects more than 30% of residents. The downtown area, once bustling with commerce, now features more vacant storefronts than active businesses. Young people leave for Birmingham or other cities with actual job prospects, creating a demographic death spiral where only those without options remain. Number 5. Chester, Pennsylvania. Chester sits just 15 miles from Philadelphia, but it might as well be on Mars. This city has the unfortunate distinction of being one of the most dangerous places in Pennsylvania. Violent crime rates are absolutely off the charts, running more than 6 times the national average. The poverty rate exceeds 30%, and median household income barely cracks $33,000. Chester's population peaked at 66,000 in 1950 and has dropped to around 32,000 today, a 52% decline. The city's economic base evaporated when shipbuilding and manufacturing left. What replaced those jobs? Not much. The city struggles with abandoned properties, underfunded schools, and infrastructure that's falling apart. Despite being close to Philadelphia's economic opportunities, Chester residents face geographical poverty, trapped in a failing city while prosperity exists just miles away. Number 4. Camden, New Jersey. Camden regularly competes for the title of America's most dangerous city. The violent crime rate has historically been more than 5 times the national average. Poverty absolutely crushes this place, with rates hovering around 35% to 40%. The median household income sits at roughly $27,000, making it one of the poorest cities in America. Population decline has been brutal, dropping from 125,000 in 1950 to under 72,000 today. The city's manufacturing base disappeared, leaving economic devastation in its wake. Camden actually dissolved its entire police department in 2013 due to budget problems, replacing it with a county force. Entire neighborhoods feature block after block of abandoned row houses. Despite sitting directly across the river from Philadelphia, Camden represents everything that can go wrong when industry leaves and nothing replaces it. Number 3. Centralia, Pennsylvania. Centralia isn't just dying, it's literally on fire. An underground coal mine fire has been burning beneath this town since 1962, and it's expected to keep burning for another 250 years. The population went from over 1,000 residents to fewer than 5 people today. Yes, 5 people. The government declared eminent domain, bought out properties, and demolished most structures. Smoke rises from cracks in the ground, roads have collapsed from underground voids, and toxic gases seep through the earth. The few remaining residents refuse to leave despite the apocalyptic conditions. It's like living on top of hell's furnace. The Postal Service revoked Centralia's zip code in 2002, essentially erasing it from official existence. What remains is a ghost town where nature and underground fire are slowly reclaiming everything humanity built. Number 2. Cairo, Illinois. Cairo represents complete urban abandonment. Positioned at the confluence of the Mississippi and Ohio rivers, this city once held strategic importance. The population peaked at 15,000 in 1920 and has collapsed to barely 1,700 today. That's an 88% population loss. Walking through Cairo feels like exploring a post-apocalyptic movie set. Entire blocks sit abandoned, with historic buildings crumbling into piles of brick. The economy? Non-existent. Job opportunities? Unless you count leaving town as a job, there aren't any. The poverty rate exceeds 40%, and those who remain are largely elderly or without means to relocate. Cairo's decline accelerated after racial tensions in the 1960s drove away businesses and residents. The city lacks basic amenities, with limited shopping, dining, or services. It's not just economically dead, it's a corpse that hasn't been buried yet. Number 1. Detroit, Michigan. Detroit's fall from grace is legendary. Once America's 4th largest city with 1.8 million residents in 1950, it's crashed to roughly 630,000 today. That's a 65% population collapse, representing the largest numerical population loss of any American city. The auto industry's decline devastated Detroit's economy. The 2008 financial crisis delivered a knockout punch, leading to the largest municipal bankruptcy in American history in 2013. At its peak, Detroit had over 296,000 abandoned properties. Crime rates soared, with violent crime running more than double the national average for years. Entire neighborhoods became urban prairies, with nature reclaiming former industrial zones. The median household income sits around $34,000, with poverty affecting more than 30% of residents. While downtown has seen some revitalization, vast sections remain hollowed-out shells. Detroit represents the ultimate cautionary tale of what happens when a city ties its entire future to one industry. These towns share a pattern that's spreading across America. When the factory closes, when the mine shuts down, when the industry moves overseas, entire communities collapse like dominoes. And here's what nobody talks about. There are dozens more cities following the exact same trajectory right now, watching their populations drain away while politicians promise solutions that never come. The question isn't whether more American towns will end up on this list. It's which ones are next, and whether anyone will care enough to stop it before they become the next Centralia or Cairo, places where even the Postal Service gives up, and the maps just pretend they never existed.